Hey everybody, Andrew Allred, Vice President with Four Bridges Capital Advisors. I am joined today by Hannes DeWet with Worx, who's going to talk to us a little bit about his journey. Hannes is the founder of Worx and built it up over a decade into what it is today, and has taken on some new partners to help accelerate the growth of the business. So, hey Hannes, how are you doing?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me today. Thanks for
Well,
doing
thanks
this.
for chatting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think first question for people, tell us what is TreeWorks? What do you do? How did you get started?
TreeWorks is, as the name suggests, a tree care company. We started in 2011. I was just graduating from UTC entrepreneurship program, the business school there, and had worked kind of grunt work on the weekends on my off days with a small tree business here in Chattanooga. They're not in business anymore, but just got me a little bit of exposure to the industry, and I really enjoyed it. I also kind of grown up always wanted to own my own business, always seeming to gravitate towards people who kind of seem to live life on their own terms,
Hmm.
have freedom of time, freedom of creativity. And I was just always really attracted to that. So I knew I wanted to start a business someday. I just had no idea what it might be. But I kind of saw I don't know, gap in the market, an opportunity for there to be a more professional tree care business in Chattanooga. And there's plenty of competitors that kind of fit that description today, but at the time I felt like there was just like good old boys with chainsaws cutting trees, and Chattanooga was evolving. The kind of people that live here were evolving. They're more conscientious about kind of preserving Chattanooga's urban canopy, and we wanted to be a big part of that. I totally bought into that vision. I wanted to be a company that helps it be a more beautiful city, a shadier city, just a nicer place to grow up. And I felt like there was a big gap there we could fill. So we kind of started on the journey. Obviously, didn't have this grand vision necessarily. We just kind of went out and started making a mess and gaining momentum. And initially, it wasn't something that I could live off of. I had to go get a big boy job, and I did it for as a kind of a on my off days as a part time thing for 2.5 years before I could kind of feel comfortable taking the proverbial leap to entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So let's see. You said 2011. So almost 15 years. And I got my list here. So you did a
It's
lot.
crazy. Yeah.
Um, you bought toward more recently. You bought a Cinnabogan, I think.
We bought
You
we bought a crane. We call it the Tree Rex. It's a
right.
knuckle boom crane. It's a European based crane that has a grapple saw attachment at the end, and it's all remote control. So you can essentially disassemble a tree in sections safely without having to have a person in the tree. And that was a big. I felt like it was a huge risk. Thought about it for a long time before we pulled the trigger, but it was a great move for our business. It really helped us do our job more efficiently and safer, and separate ourselves from some of our competitors. So I thought it was in retrospect, a very good move. But there's always other toys that one wants.
And then let's see, you guys originally I think were mostly just trimming. I know more recently you guys got into plant healthcare and I think some pruning and then commercial work as well.
Correct.
Maybe tell us about kind of the evolution of some of those newer services over the last couple of years.
Yeah. I think that's I can kind of tell that story. We started obviously with trimming, pruning, removal, like most tree care businesses do. And as you grow more in your knowledge and your team grows and they're developing, you kind of get brought different options. You have more tools in your tool belt. And we, with the help of an arborist friend of mine, developed a soil care program about 2 years ago that is just incredible. It's a huge game changer, and I don't know of anything else like it. But it's science-based. We do a soil sample. Our arborists come out and do a soil sample. We see what the soil needs, and we put it on a program where essentially we're injecting deep root injections into your landscape and helping kind of fix your soil. Because a lot of the problems that we run into, the tree problems, actually start with just bad soil. Whether that's construction damage or we have a lot of clay in this area. Like a lot of our trees just grow in clay. And in the forest, trees don't need us. They have a whole unbelievable system of recycling nutrients. In the city, it's a different ballgame. You blow your leaves to the street and the city comes and takes them away. All that organic material would have otherwise refertilized your landscape. Your grass clippings, most people throw that in the trash, and that's like gold for soil. So we kind of felt like, hey, some of the way that we interact with our landscape is broken, and we can try to help fix that through some of our programs, and it's really working. Our clients love it. The clients that are on that program and have seen some results just absolutely love it. And we do face some other challenges that's beyond soil. Like some of our trees there's certain pests that affect our trees and our landscape, and we have the ability now to handle that. And it's just there's not many things that you could throw at our team, this tree or landscape related, that we can't help with.
Yeah, and you get into the R word, the recurring revenue, right? All the private equity guys like to
Of
say
course, your finance brain goes right there, doesn't it?
that's right. So which is a good segue to ask. So when in your journey of building Tree Works would you say you decided, okay, I think now is a good time to maybe think about finding a partner to help me keep growing? When you feel like you kind of hit that point?
It's probably been a couple of years of train of thought, honestly. I mean, I think like most business owners, I wore many different hats, still wear
Yeah.
quite a few hats. And some of those hats fit very well and others did not fit so well. I was dangerous with them. And I knew that for me to kind of break the next glass ceiling in our business, that there were certain parts of our business that needed me to bring in somebody that was more professional and really good, that had strengths in those areas. And when you have a smaller business, like you can only afford so much talent. Like it'd be wonderful to have a head of marketing, head of sales manager, head of plant healthcare, all this stuff. But like you only have so many resources. You do the best with that what you can. And certain parts of our business, like our training and development program, I really felt like we could take it to the next level. Our plant healthcare program was growing and evolving, and I felt like we could take that to the next level. And
Mhm.
finance was something that was always felt to me like an uphill battle. That I knew if I found the right person there, they could really help take our company to the next level and set us up for future growth. And so it's been a process. You wonder like what does a partnership look like? Um, there's obviously fears associated with partnering with anybody, whether it's a business partner, an equity partner. There's just a lot of things that you are wary of. It's uncharted waters.
Yeah, and I know when we started talking, I know some of the folks from I think from North Branch had been in contact with you directly, and then obviously there's other folks out there, the Tree Guardians, Canopy, Save a Tree, etc. So a lot of different folks out there in the world that are acquiring folks in your industry. Maybe speak to some of those fears. What was kind of on your mind? You're maybe in inning number one of hey, I'm going to try to find a partner. What were the maybe top one, two, three, whatever concerns in the mind of Hannes as you kind of looked at the rest of a process of finding that partner?
Yeah, I'd say the fears when you're somebody that's grown accustomed to kind of being able to chart your own course, and you have an idea, and it's up to you to go out and implement it and try it and fail, and accountable to you and your team, like it 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 is a little daunting to think about if you take on the wrong partner, losing some control there, or that the culture of your organization or your team could shift uh, for the worse if you're not careful with who you partner with. And so I think
Right.
one of the biggest things for us, first and foremost, was just like that our partner was somebody that was people focused, and not too corporate, not too rigid around those kinds of things. I feel like you can over corporatize certain things and turn a good thing into a not so good thing, or make it lose its edge. So I think it's important to have, I wanted to find an environment where we had professional help, an awesome team, so that we had the resources that we needed, but that it wasn't too rigid, too corporate for us to continue to flourish and kind of feel like we're mobile, agile, and able to act quickly. The other thing I think was just like we needed a partner that was in alignment with our safety and training culture. We definitely wanted somebody that valued investing in our people and developing them and training them. I didn't want to get into a situation where the P&L came before it was seen as an expense item that was unnecessary in the P&L. I wanted it to be, and I found like we've truly found that. There's no question when it comes to, hey, do we want to invest 2-3 days this month on X team training them? It's not a discussion. We do it. It's huge, and I think long term that'll pay huge dividends for our company.
Yeah, no, all makes sense.
Yeah. The
What
other thing,
about or
sorry.
go
Yeah,
keep
there's
talking.
one more thing that I think kind of was important is that I feel like, for our business, when we interact with our clients, we don't want it to just be a transaction. We don't want to be just a transactional business. We want there to be a relationship long term. So we love working with clients that care about their trees enough that we see them every 3 to 5 years. Maybe some way more often than that, but almost that we are like the arborist of record for their property. And so we wanted to find a partner that had the same, that viewed that client interaction the same way. And I think we hit the nail on the head with that.
I probably need that. Somebody check on my like 3 trees in my yard.
You know who
50%,
to call. Yeah.
that won't be good. What about, so let's think. So zooming in maybe on the first part of the process. So obviously you move forward, signed a letter of intent with North Branch Capital, their company Butte Tree out of Atlanta, Georgia. So maybe I mean, this might be a dark time in the past of Hannes. Just us asking you all the questions and them asking you all the questions, but tell us what was surprising, maybe if anything, about the first couple weeks. I mean, I know we were digging into Arbosar and reconciling things to your financials, and there was a lot going
Oh,
on in the
yeah.
quality of earnings. What was were there any surprises in that
Yeah,
first?
definitely. I mean, I just, this is not my world, right? I have built my business, but I've never gone through the process of selling a business or going through a complicated partnership. And so you don't know what you don't know. That's just what it comes down to. And I think one of the things that when I approached you guys, we pretty much had an offer on the table already, right? So
Right.
I thought the hard part is done. We've got an
Yeah, I mean,
offer.
you had a fully baked letter of intent. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And so I felt like, hey, that's this is the hard part. That's pretty much over with now. Like, where do we sign? What's the next step? And as we had our first couple of meetings, obviously it kind of became apparent that this is a longer process and there's a lot more involved. And as that process started to roll out, it became very obvious to me that I had underestimated the amount of time and effort and um, uh, just attention that the due diligence process, the quality of earnings would take. It far exceeded what I thought it it would be, and so thank goodness I brought in help. Thank goodness I hired you guys to help us through this process, because I probably at that point would have walked away from the situation, just not being able to handle the dynamics of all of that. It's an enormous amount of data that they're requesting. We were doing all of our financials on a cash basis, not an accrual basis. That adds, some level of complexity there. And and you guys were so good about just being like, okay, hey, where can we help you? Give us logins to the CRM. We'll try to pull all the reports and get the data that we need without bothering you. And I think one of the things that I would have done differently in retrospect is I was trying to do the process without involving any of my team. And I probably would have from the get go brought in a few of our key team members to help me through that process internally. There's a risk to that
Yeah.
as well if the deal doesn't go through, but in our case, I think it would have been helpful. And I very much in the process felt like I was bottlenecking the flow of data sometimes. And and I think that helps if you can bring in your key people to help you through that process. I think it helps out. But there's there's no way I could have made it through the quality of earnings made it to the other side alive if I didn't have you guys' perspective and help and advice. It's just I think it's just not something not something I was set up for.
Well, look, I mean, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, a lot of people don't expect, they brought in Crow, top 10 massive accounting firm. And I thought they were, reasonable folks that we got to work with, but still, yeah, I mean, it's a big exercise. Probably not the most fun thing you've ever done. But yeah, no, look, I mean, you're like a lot of folks, right? Where you say, hey, I don't want to really tell anybody until we kind of get this further down the path, which is not at all uncommon for you to feel that way going through it. So that's maybe the first part of the process was all the fun you had answering our questions and Crow's questions and North Branch's questions about the financials. And then we kind of shifted into, okay, now buyer is doing legal diligence and they're asking you go through labor issues or insurance issues or lease issues or whatever it is. So
Oh,
give us
lease issues.
give,
There we
give
go.
us some like some unexpected, you know, man, I survived the quality of earnings. We're doing well. We've got some momentum. We've got a purchase agreement. But then, what other surprises or what other speed bumps did we hit that were like, wow, I didn't even know that was gonna happen either.
Yeah, it was just each thing had its own challenges, but I think like some on some of the insurance things, there were certain coverages that they say it this way, we say it this way. We're trying to figure out where do we where do we land here. We've always had great insurance coverage, but uh, you're some on the I felt like on the buying side, some of their counsel that didn't quite understand our business, right? So they're applying something that may apply to a manufacturer to our
Mm.
business, and it doesn't make sense. And so that's kind of nice. It was nice to have you guys to be kind of the translator there to say, hey, we understand where you're coming from, we understand where you're asking for this, but in their case it means XYZ. And kind of just be able to maintain that rapport through the process, the whole process of it all. The other thing was, something even as silly as a lease, a basic lease. Like I remember we were up till midnight the night before negotiating some details on the lease agreement, and that would have been the last thing that I could have foreseen is that might be something that would derail the deal. But at the last minute, sometimes if you're not careful, your ego can get to a point where it's challenged a little bit, and you're like, hey, if we can't, if we can't make this work, and it was just nice to have you guys as kind of that intermediary voice of
Yeah.
reason for the deal, and know, hey, these are places where we really should fight, and these are places where we can compromise. And you always kind of sought my opinion in that process as well, and helped me just clarify the multiple plates that we're spinning at one time. So it's invaluable. There's no way that I could have gone through that process by myself and, continue to run my company and come out alive on the on the other side.
I know that's what people forget, right? Is we're asking so much of you and they're asking so much of you. And oh, by the way, you're still running your business.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have two little kids at home. So,
yeah,
it's like all this,
yeah, and
all
it
this
feels
stuff.
like you're going through 4 IRS audits at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, good luck with that. Trying to do that by yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, what about so would have maybe thought about, or at least considered maybe bringing some of your people into the tent sooner rather than later, maybe just to help you out. What else, kind of looking back, would you've done differently or thought of differently, or anything else come to
Yeah,
mind?
absolutely. I mean, I think if I could go back and I had a year, if I had a year, we weren't on the market, right? And
Right.
the service industry is hot. We get calls all the time, but we weren't on the market actively looking. And if I had a year to kind of, or 6 months before to prepare for it, I think I would have moved to an accrual based accounting system
Mhm.
sooner. I would have put more focus on cleaning up our financials and just tightening up things, so that you're not trying to recreate history, because that's kind of what it felt like. That process of going from cash to accrual is like they're trying to recreate history, and just the amount of data that they need for that is incredible.
Yeah.
If I had already been on accrual, that would have been a lot faster and easier, I think. So I
Yeah.
wish I'd done that. And I had just, before the deal happened, I had just recently partnered with a fractional CFO who was helping me a ton. But
Yeah.
he'd only had probably 2.5 months worth of heads up before this whole thing started. So he was still in the process of cleaning up some things when we started down this path, and that made it a little bit more complicated. So I'd say, like, for if I had a friend listening to this that was thinking about going through the same process, I'd say clean up your financials first. Um, start doing an accrual based accounting system, just to kind of be prepared for it, and then find a team, find your people that are going to help you through the process of like pulling the data that you need, and providing it quickly, and it'll be a little bit smoother for you.
I don't need to give you a megaphone. That's what that's that's what a lot of folks that's what a lot of folks that we work with say, man, I didn't realize, I wish I'd had a CFO or fill in the blank here on the financial front sooner. So I
Yeah,
so I could so I could do all that stuff. What about, you mentioned team. So we got the pleasure of working with you. So you had you filled your investment banker seat on the team. Talk about other seats on the team. You had you
yeah,
had
yeah.
corporate counsel, other
Yep. Yeah,
folks
we had
that
some great attorneys that luckily I think a long time ago, you guys had actually referred us to them. And they were wonderful. Like that's another one. I didn't quite understand what the balance is going to look like, from the get go. You kind of explained that process, that, hey, they're going to be, the lawyers are going to be a little quiet on the front end, and they're going to be doing a lot of the work on the back end. And that was kind of how it ended up being. It felt like at some point the baton was kind of handed over, and said, okay, we're doing legal diligence now, and then you guys, would work with our legal team at Holland and Knight, and they were great. They were fantastic, and again, couldn't do it without them. We also had, our fractional CFO, Jared Bailey, at Right Hand CFOs. He was involved, trying to help you guys give data, provide insight, that kind of stuff. Again, trying to rewrite history is not easy.
yeah.
And it was nice that I could just say, hey, can you ask Jared, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's been four,
Um,
4 months and 4 days. There you go.
yeah,
So
yeah,
give us I don't know, tell us, maybe everything hasn't happened that it has been planned to happen, but tell us a little bit about life post transaction, in terms of, have any resources been added to the team? Has anything changed? Could be for the better, could be for the worse. But how have you been helped or what's changed in the past 4 months or
No,
so
that's a really
with
good
your new
question.
partner?
Yeah, I think like they were wise on after the deal closed for about a month. We didn't do much. We
Right.
just kind of like let's get, we're out of this tough due diligence period. Let Hannes like focus on his business for a minute. Let it, like, after I announced it to the team, let it settle into them as well. Just the thought of it
Yeah.
without making too many changes, because that's we were talking about fears on the front end. That's another fear you have, right? As a founder, is that, will my team buy into this? Will they get why we're doing this? Will they see it as a positive thing? And so we didn't make too many changes for the first month or so, just kind of to let things settle in. Then we started first with like payroll, integrating that. It had some small speed bumps, but it went really well. Honestly, we were on different kind of pay cycles and things to figure out there, but I felt like we made a pretty good plan and tackled that. Banking integrations, so going through the process of like shutting down your banks and your credit cards and all that kind of stuff and integrating it into one place. Never fun, but has to happen,
Yeah.
and that's all happened now. And We are integrated into this new CRM system that we're going to be using. And what we had before was kind of a Toyota Camry, capable, reliable, right? But
I
not.
was gonna say, don't say anything bad. I used to have a Camry.
And now I feel like we have a Ferrari, and the Ferrari is a
There
little
you
bit more
go.
complicated. We're getting used to this new system and training our team on it. And I think once we have it nailed down, it's gonna allow us to do a lot of things that our previous system did not. And already there are some things that we're enjoying with the new system, like some automated communications with clients and automated job scheduling communications. Um, some marketing integrations. The data that we can pull out of there is a whole lot more robust than our previous system. And data is everything.
Right.
Good data is everything. It's what you make all your decisions based on. So that's all good. But that just the process of change is never fun.
Yeah.
That's always difficult. And luckily, there's actually been some great things that come out of just having fresh eyes coming to a new thing. We had some, hey, can we do X? Can we do Y? Can we change this? And our new partners have been great about, yeah, I think we can. Let's try that. And some of those things have been implemented and are adding value. So I think it's just the process of having new life in your business that don't see it from your perspective can be value adding if you do it in the right way.
Yeah.
And We've done some training days with our guys, with the kind of the vertical training team have come into town and spent time investing in our team, and they've gotten a lot out of that. That's probably the biggest positive that I would
Mhm.
say our team has felt like day to day. It's just that investment from them. Um, Working on all sorts of things, working on our maintenance repair fleet maintenance program, sharpening that up. So we got a lot of things on the to-do list, but we're just going to take them one at a time, and looking for new partners to add to our team, new good, founders with like-minded teams to bring into the mix. So a lot of good things to look forward to.
Nice. All good to hear. Well, I think last question is that's maybe what's going on in the 4 months or so post transaction. But I don't know, what's the next year or so look like for you, Hannes? Is it just more of the same? I know you got a lot of initiatives on the horizon, but anything
Yeah,
else growing and
I think part of the process that I'm going through right now is figuring out which things can I delegate out that I used to do. Like what can I now with a we have a COO, we have a CFO, we have a marketing company that we're wanting to hire for the corporate team. We have a sales manager, we have a plant healthcare manager. These are all things we didn't have in the past, or had very small versions of. And so I'm just trying to find that balance of me running my company. Which things can I hand off, and what's the cadence of that, so that I can kind of focus my time on the things that are my highest and best use to the team. you know. So that's the process that I'm in right now, of figuring what that looks like, and then obviously, you know, I want to grow our business. I want to add more crews to our company, and I want to add more sales folks, and I want to find other tree care businesses that we can partner with, hopefully regionally.
Nice. Nice. Well enough to keep you busy then.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Hannes, man, good to catch up as always, and thanks for being part of the Spanish Inquisition today with all the questions about tree trimming and growing and you know, finding a new partner for your tree
Yeah.
trimming
Well,
business.
I
So
can't
appreciate it,
thank
man.
you and your whole team, you know, enough. Again, like anything we or my team can ever do for you, the answer is yes. Thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it. Good catching up.
All right, buddy.
See ya.